Julianna Pena versus Amanda Nunes 2 just took place in the main events of UFC 277, and I can't wait to break down this fight. It was an interesting contest, to say the least. I'm going to be critical of this fight at a moment, but I'm going to save that until a little bit into this video. I've got to give praise to Amanda Nunes. She won every single round of that fight, dominated the fight overall. I had it 50-44, I believe, but I guess you could give a 10-8 round in round 1. She did drop Julianna Pena twice in round 1 and wobble her in a moment as well. So I guess you can give it 50-43. I don't mind that whatsoever. I know DC had a problem with that scorecard, but I believe that was somewhat justified in some eyes because Amanda Nunes was dominating those first 2 rounds. She won the second round very, very dominantly. That was a 10-8 round, no doubt about it. 10-8 round, dropped Pena 3 times in that round. And then round 4, I guess, was the most competitive round of the fight. Julianna Pena had some moments where she nearly scored some submissions. I actually predicted Julianna Pena to lose the entire fight all the way through and then randomly get a submission in round 4 and take it back and score the comeback win. So I was going crazy when she locked up that armbar because I thought that was genuinely in. But I feel like female MMA fighters, the armbars are tougher to tap from, in my opinion. I feel like it's something to do with the flexibility of the bones and stuff like that, but I feel like we don't normally see armbars get finishes unless you're Jessica Rose Clark, I guess. But either way, a very good win from Amanda Nunes. She dominated, she took back the belt, she ended up on top, and she was just sort of controlling the position, landing some elbows here and there. Julianna Pena would try a couple of submission attempts here and there, like a triangle and armbar, but Nunes would find a way out of it every single time, and cut open Julianna Pena with elbows, land big shots in the early rounds. Amanda Nunes did amazing. Great work from Amanda Nunes. She's the GOAT of women's MMA. The double champ thing is cringe at this point because there is no women's 145 division. Like, she beat Cyborg, credit, but to make a whole division and a championship belt around that is just absolutely crazy. But, you know, they need to make Nunes set history that a male fighter can't, so they can promote that, and that's silly, but that's what they do. There's literally about 2 fighters in the women's 145-pound division, so we'll see what goes on. I doubt she'll be defending that belt for another 2 years because, as I said, there's literally 0 contenders in the 145-pound division. So that's interesting that they continue to keep it around. But yeah, Amanda Nunes wins. I will say this, though. I knew they were bad at fighting. Nunes is good. She's got some good timing here and there. But, the first fight was interesting because it was a heat-of-the-moment thing. They were going crazy on each other in the second round. And it's like, okay, I can justify them throwing punches like toddlers and children that have had 1 year, a week of training even. Because they're going at it, it's in the heat of the moment, they're both a little bit rocked. But Julianna Pena, she was a champion in women's MMA. How much do I say here and how critical do I get? Because she is tough. And respect to Julianna Pena for being tough and lasting until the end of that fight, because there's other fighters that would have given up a lot earlier there. But I was laughing at Julianna Pena's stand-up ability in the fight. I knew she would get outstruck early on. But, she was literally running in like she's had no training whatsoever. And that's not an over-exaggeration. I've seen fights on Street Beefs that had better technique than that. I've seen, like, I don't even know how to... Julianna... I don't know how critical to be here because she is tough, but I've got to give my honest reaction. Julianna Pena, first of all, Nunes, how did you let her win the first time in hindsight? Like, that makes Nunes look terrible in that. I bet she didn't even train. I honestly could see that. She just showed up, no training whatsoever, and saw how it went. I reckon that's honestly a reality that could have happened. But Amanda Nunes, Julianna Pena, like, you have been training MMA for what I would suggest probably 15 years. if you started in 2009, or if you started in 2007, it would have been 15 years. Your first amateur fight was in 2009. I'm going to guess that you had over, like, probably about 2 years of training before you went amateur. And you've been a pro since 2009. So that's 13 years as a pro. And you're throwing punches like that. And it's just so interesting to see her not shoot any takedowns as a grappler, and her to run in like that with her fists, leaving herself so vulnerable. I was laughing watching the fight. It's such a low level of fighting ability. Even the takedown defense that she showed. Even moments that Nunes had didn't look great. But Nunes is good and she's an exception, and she's actually got okay boxing timing, and it looks okay, I guess. Like, it's acceptable. Like, if you saw that, you would say, okay, this person's trained a bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this person has been to a boxing gym and has trained for, like, a couple of months, couple of weeks. Like, that's the technique. Like, I admit Amanda Nunes does show that. But Julianna Pena genuinely looks like she's never thrown a punch in her entire life out there. And I think we need to start asking questions about this, because she shouldn't look that way. What's going on? And I know, I'm trying to be honest here, like, I watch Yuani and Jacek, and she throws shots well. I watch other women's strawweight fighters like Zhang Weili, and she throws shots well. What are the women's bantamweights doing to where all of them, pretty much outside of Nunes, can't throw punches? It's very confusing to me. And it's a shock to see that. And this is why I don't feel like they should be main eventing. It was a great fight to watch. It was better than any Adesanya fight recently, I'll tell you that much in terms of entertainment. There was close moments, there was knockdowns, stuff like that. But you can't do Luis Pavlovich, Moreno Carafrance, Pantoja Perez, Ankleev Smith, Morono Semmelsberger, Dober Alves, and see this technique and then end the card with Pena Nunes going on. Because Pena looks like she has no idea what she's doing on the feet. The kicks that she was throwing were terrible. That's just a fact. She can't kick, and she's been training MMA for 15 years. She can't throw kicks. The punches were laughable. I don't know anymore. And I'm being honest. And she is tough. And respect to Julianna Pena, because she was cut open. She'd been knocked down 5 times. And it takes a level of toughness to get through that. I completely understand. She is tough and deserves massive amounts of respect. But when are we going to start having the conversation of, we need spy cameras in the gym seeing if they're actually doing training? Because you can't train to be a fighter and do that. I've done training. And after a few weeks in the gym, you just start to do things alright. And you may not amplify that and move that over and, like, apply that to a real life fight under the bright lights. I completely understand that. But you will eventually. You will after 15 years of training. You will. And I've done Muay Thai, and you learn how to do it. You do light sparring on a group mat, and then you go into, like, the back room where there's a ring, and people come from other gyms, and you and other guys from your gym go into the ring in the back room, and you have, like, a proper live, hard sparring rounds with each other and stuff like that. And it looks better than Pena, and that's after, like, a couple of months people come in. You'll see, like, an 18-year-old. He's just left school. He wants to do something with his free time. He has no training whatsoever. He comes into the gym. He looks bad for a couple of weeks. He looks bad for a month or two, starts to pick it up a little bit, and then by like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, we start seeing some technique out of him. Like, okay, he's doing stuff properly. You don't ever see him running in like that towards an opponent. So we need to start asking questions about what's going on in these training sessions, because it is an embarrassment to the sport. Fun fight to watch. Fun, like street beefs is fun. Like homeless people fighting in the street is fun to watch. Tough, Julianna Pena, very tough. Respect. Respect to Nunes. I don't know how she only got scored 3 knockdowns. There was 5 clearly. And it's very interesting to me how we are not seeing an advancement in skill from these women's contenders at bantamweight. Is Nunes the only one training? Let me know in the comments below. And also, what's next? I guess Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko, the trilogy, is the only thing I'd be interested by. I know they've got Aldana versus Chasson, or Aspen Ladd versus someone coming up. Like, I'm not really too interested in that type of stuff. I know they're going back to Brazil, so maybe they go back to Brazil with Figueiredo Moreno, and then they do like Nunes versus Ketlin Vieira. But am I interested by that? No, because again, Vieira nearly lost to Misha Tate, and Murphy beat Tate. So it's like, I want to see Shevchenko versus Nunes 3. That's the fight I think we all want to see. That's the only one that interests me skill-wise. Shevchenko, I think, would be a very strong favourite before her Santos fight to beat Nunes. But watching Nunes get the belt back and then watching Shevchenko Santos, I think that's a much more competitive fight. And people view that as a more competitive fight as well. So let's watch that one again, because that's the only one that makes sense. And other than that, I'll see you later. Thank you for watching. Good job, Amanda Nunes. I thought that Pena would get the Hail Mary submission out of nowhere as Nunes slowed down. She almost did in round 4, but yeah, that striking, we need to start training MMA, I think. We need to start training striking, like hitting some pads. Maybe. I'm not a genius, though, so I don't know if you should be training. I don't know. I'm not one to... I don't know if a champion should have trained striking for a week. I don't know. I don't quite know. See you later. Goodbye. Toodle pip. Yeah.